On Friday, March 6th, the Bureau of Labor Statistics released a report that discusses the employment situation, and it appears that things are getting worse. In the month of February, 851,000 people became unemployed, pushing the unemployment rate up to 8.1%. This is the first time it's been this high since late 1983. However, here's an interesting point. Only 351,000 of these people are unemployed because of declines in the number of jobs available during the month. The other 500,000 people are people who just decided to enter the workforce. Why would they do such a thing? Well, another part of the report makes it clear. Hourly wages are not falling. They're rising. From January to February, average hourly earnings increased by about 3 cents an hour. That's not much, it's true. But doesn't it seem strange to you that in the light of how many people are being laid off and having their hours cut, that wages aren't falling at all? In fact, since the middle of last year, hourly wages have increased by about 2%, which is basically what happens during normal economic times. Anyone can tell you these are not normal economic times. Wages should be falling in the kind of situation we have, but they're not. They're rising. So why? Why is it that in the face of so many unemployed and jobs being destroyed, wages are rising? Now, to guide where we should look, let's think about what might convince someone to go from having no job and not looking for one to looking for a job when they know they are very unlikely to find one. Now, the answer is clear. Unemployment benefits. As long as you're actively looking for a job, you can claim unemployment benefits. And one of the large aspects of the recently passed stimulus bill was $40 billion toward the extension of unemployment benefits and an increase in their size by $25 a week. Suddenly, everything makes sense. Unemployment is rising, not just because people are losing their jobs, though they are, but right now, more because people are entering the workforce. But it makes sense to do that even if you don't expect to find a job because you can claim unemployment benefits. Also, since unemployment benefits have been extended, people who might not have been eligible before, or who may have been very hesitant to take them, are very willing to take them now. Add to that the fact that they've increased by $25 a week, and we have an additional incentive to bring people into looking for a job. Also, this $25 per week raise for the unemployed also creates a somewhat higher bottom for wages. Now, suppose that I'm making $300 a week from unemployment. This means that any job I find must offer me at least $300 a week in compensation, and probably significantly more than that if I find the job early in my job search when I know that benefits are still promised for a long time. Now, once this $25 raise kicks in, the number that I require from any job does something rather obvious. It increases by about $25. So, why is it that unemployment rates are so high? At least in part, it's likely because of extended and increased unemployment benefits. So, what needs to be done to solve this problem of high unemployment? Well, we can approach this from two sides. On the one hand, we could try to discourage people from entering the workforce. Perhaps we could try increasing income taxes significantly so that work just isn't worth it. Or similarly, we could cut unemployment benefits significantly. On the other hand, we could try to encourage the creation of good jobs. That is, we could make it more attractive for businesses to hire people. Now, one possible mechanism that could help this all work is simply to let wages fall and let unemployment benefits expire. When that happens, we'll see a few things happen. First, lots of people will leave the labor force. Since unemployment benefits have evaporated, there's very little reason to be intentionally unemployed, so that incentive is gone. Also, since wages are lower, working will be less attractive. At the same time, businesses will be thrilled by the possibility of hiring cheaper labor. Both sides will work together to eliminate the unemployment problem. But, for this to happen, we have to let wages fall. No increases in the minimum wage No more increases in unemployment benefits. Now, one barrier that I've found in people's minds is that people seem to believe that unemployment just happens. That is, it seems like layoffs are basically random events. Now, to some degree, I think this is a defense mechanism. It's a lot easier to think of things as, well, someone had to get laid off, and I guess it was me, rather than I got laid off for some particular reason. But to another degree, it's because to an individual, being laid off does appear to be somewhat random. It's not like you got fired, you were just laid off because the company doesn't need as many people right now. Now, I'm not going to claim that there isn't a certain degree of randomness involved. However, if we want to act as if the current unemployment rate of 8.1% exists more or less by accident, then we will come to dangerous conclusions. We may conclude, as policymakers seem to, that the best policy is to ease the pain by providing generous and extended unemployment benefits. After all, nothing really caused the unemployment in the first place. So what we should do is give the unemployed a candy bar while they wait for jobs to appear. But that's not true at all. When there is persistent, systematic unemployment like we have now, is a sign that there is some cause. It's not just a random event. And this cause is that wage rates are being held too high. It might be that they rose to a level that was perfectly fine a couple years ago and just haven't fallen as conditions have changed. It might be that they were forced up by various non-market forces to levels that are both higher than before and higher than appropriate. But either way, wages are too high. So it is too expensive to create new jobs and too attractive to look for jobs. If wages fall, both of these will be repaired in time, and probably a pretty short time. The only delay we'd expect is the time it takes to find a job when there are plenty of jobs open, and that's not particularly long nowadays. Fortunately, there's good reason to believe that the situation will resolve itself. I've heard no talk of raising the minimum wage recently. I also haven't heard any talk of giving additional power to unions. Now, the last real barrier to wages falling is these unemployment benefits. So, if we just give those time to expire, the labor market should adjust. Exactly when that happens, though, will depend on how much we keep extending unemployment benefits. Only time will tell whether Washington will learn their lesson and stop extending these benefits. If they don't, unemployment could stay high for a very long time.